Welcome, everyone, to the enchanting world of Greek mythology. Today, we're going to explore a question that perhaps each of us has asked ourselves. What would happen if you loved yourself more than anyone else in the world? Imagine waking up every morning, and the first thing you think about is your own reflection in the mirror. Every word, every action revolves around your own ego. You are immersed in self-admiration, neglecting the relationships around you, ignoring the feelings of others. That self-love bring true happiness, or would it lead to a tragic end? The story of Narcissus, the most beautiful boy on earth, will give you a haunting answer. A story about beauty, arrogance, and the heavy price to pay when lost in self-love. Join me as we uncover the secrets hidden behind the reflection on the water's surface and find out if Narcissus truly found happiness in that love, or if it was just an illusion leading to the abyss of despair. The answer awaits you in today's video. Narcissus, deadly beauty and the trap of self-love. In the dense forests, where babbling brooks flowed through lush green meadows, and majestic mountains stretched towards the vast blue sky of ancient Greece, there is a story told and retold through generations. It is the tale of Narcissus, a young man whose beauty captivated both gods and mortals, yet he possessed a heart of ice, loving only one person, himself. The story begins even before Narcissus was born. His mother, the river nymph Liriope, a beautiful maiden, was violated by the river god Cephissus. From this forced union, Narcissus was born, imbued with extraordinary beauty, surpassing all mortals. From the moment he was born, Narcissus astonished everyone around him with his handsome features, skin as smooth and white as jade, eyes as blue as an autumn lake, and curly hair as radiant as the morning sun. Fearing that her son's extraordinary beauty would bring trouble, Liriope sought out the prophet Tiresias, a blind seer renowned for his ability to see the future. She asked Tiresias about Narcissus's fate, whether he would live a long and happy life. Tiresias, after a moment of contemplation, delivered a prophecy shrouded in mystery and foreboding. Narcissus will live to old age, provided he never sees himself. This prophecy filled Liriope with immense anxiety. She resolved to protect her son from all dangers, especially from his own beauty. She raised Narcissus in a secluded forest, away from all reflecting surfaces, all still waters, hoping that he would never accidentally see his reflection and the prophecy would never come to pass. Narcissus grew up under his mother's strict protection, completely unaware of his extraordinary beauty. He only knew that he was a strong, agile young man, skilled in hunting. He often hunted in the deep forest, befriended by wild nature, and completely indifferent to the outside world. Narcissus's beauty, though hidden, still radiated everywhere. Word of the handsome youth in the deep forest reached the ears of Echo, a beautiful forest nymph burdened by a cruel curse. Echo was once a cheerful, lively nymph who loved to chat and gossip. However, for helping the god Zeus conceal his clandestine affairs with other goddesses, Echo was punished by the goddess Hera. Hera deprived Echo of her ability to speak first, leaving her only able to repeat the last sounds spoken by others. One day, while Narcissus was hunting in the forest, he inadvertently lost his companions. He called out loudly, "Is anyone here?" And Echo, hiding deep in the forest, heard his call. She was instantly captivated by Narcissus's beauty. She fell in love with him at first sight and longed to respond to his call. But because of the curse, Echo could only repeat the last sound in Narcissus's question. "Here." Narcissus was surprised to hear the echo, but saw no one. He continued to call, "Come here," and Echo, still only able to repeat, "Here." The strange dialogue continued. Narcissus grew increasingly curious and annoyed, while Echo became more and more enamored with his beauty and tried to approach him. Finally, Narcissus shouted, "Away from me," Echo repeated in anguish. "From me." Narcissus's harsh rejection broke Echo's heart. She fled into the deep forest, living in solitude, grief, and despair. Sorrow and shame consumed her, causing her body to gradually fade away, leaving only a mournful echo reverberating through the mountains and forests. Even to this day, we can still hear the echo in the deserted forests, as a reminder of Echo's painful, unrequited love and Narcissus's cruelty. Narcissus's rejection did not only cause Echo pain. His arrogance and indifference had hurt many others, both men and women, who had fallen in love with him. One of those scorned by Narcissus prayed to the avenging gods. The goddess Nemesis, who specialized in punishing arrogance and hubris, heard that prayer and decided to punish Narcissus. One hot summer day, after a tiring hunt, Narcissus felt thirsty. He came to a crystal-clear lake, its surface as smooth as a mirror, never disturbed by human hands or the blowing wind. As Narcissus bent down to drink, he inadvertently saw his reflection on the lake's surface. And in that very moment, Tiresias's prophecy was fulfilled. Narcissus was completely captivated by the beauty he had never known. He was astonished, amazed, and then completely immersed in that exquisite image. He could not believe that such perfect beauty existed in the world. He did not realize it was just his own reflection. He thought it was a god, a nymph, or some wonderful creature hiding beneath the water's surface. Narcissus was completely enchanted, obsessed with that image. He could not take his eyes off the lake, could not leave the beauty he believed belonged to another. He forgot his thirst, forgot his fatigue, forgot the whole world around him. He only knew the reflection on the water's surface, an image he longed to possess, yet could not touch. Day after day, Narcissus sat by the lake, gazing at his reflection, talking to it, lamenting to it, and gradually he fell into a state of infatuation, obsession. He did not eat, did not drink, did not sleep, did not rest. He only lived and breathed for the reflection on the water's surface. Narcissus's hunting companions grew worried about him. They searched for him everywhere, finally finding him by the lake, in a state of exhaustion and emaciation. They tried to persuade him to leave the lakeside, but Narcissus heard nothing, cared about nothing. He only knew his blind love for himself. In the end, Narcissus collapsed by the lake, exhausted. He died because he could not leave his reflection, because self-love had become a shackle binding him, imprisoning him in a vain illusion. When the forest nymphs, came to prepare for Narcissus's burial, they could not find his body anywhere. Instead, they found a pure white flower, its petals delicate, its golden stamen radiant, blooming by the lake. It was the Narcissus flower, the flower named after him, the flower symbolizing self-love, vanity, and death from love of an illusion. The story of Narcissus is not just a tragedy of unrequited love, but also a profound warning about the danger of excessive self-love. Narcissus died because he loved himself too much, because he placed his ego above all else, neglecting real relationships and the true values of life. In modern society, the story of Narcissus remains as relevant as ever. We live in a world where outward appearance is highly valued. Social media has become a place for everyone to flaunt themselves, and self-love is sometimes mistaken for selfishness and arrogance. The image of Narcissus by the lake, passionately gazing at his reflection, can be seen as a metaphor for young people today, who spend too much time on social media, editing selfies, and living virtually in a virtual world. They crave admiration, love, and acceptance from others, but forget to build real relationships, forget to care about those around them. The story of Narcissus reminds us that outward beauty is fleeting, and excessive self-love can lead to tragic consequences. True love is not vanity, arrogance, but care, sharing, and empathy for others. True happiness does not come from being admired by others, but from building sincere relationships and living a meaningful life. Look at the Narcissus flower, the flower named after Narcissus, to remember this tragic story. Remember that true beauty lies not in outward appearance, but in the soul and the beautiful actions we bring to this world. And always be wary of the trap of self-love, so as not to follow in Narcissus's footsteps, so as not to lose the true values of life. The story of Narcissus concludes, but the lessons it imparts still resonate to this day. Hopefully, through this story, we will have a deeper understanding of ourselves, of love, and of life, so that we can live a more meaningful and happier life. Narcissus, the mirror reflection, and the like syndrome in the modern era. In a world where the touchscreen has become an omnipotent mirror, this statement is no longer a metaphor, but an obvious reality. Think about it. How many screens do we encounter each day? Phones, tablets, laptops, TVs, outdoor advertising screens, even screens on refrigerators or smartwatches. Screens are not just tools for work and entertainment, but also windows through which we look at the world, and more importantly, through which the world looks at us. And unconsciously, we begin to see the screen as a mirror, reflecting not only our outward appearance, but also our self-worth. And when likes become the currency of self-worth, we have entered a completely new frame of reference. In the past, a person's value was judged by moral qualities, talent, and contributions to society. Today, in the virtual world, that measure seems to have been replaced by meaningless numbers, the number of likes, shares, comments, and followers. We begin to ask ourselves, am I getting enough engagement? Is my post viral enough? Am I hot enough on social media? And if the answer is no, a feeling of disappointment, self-doubt, even worthlessness can creep into our souls. We may be inadvertently entering the age of digital narcissuses. Inadvertently is the key word here. We don't intentionally become Narcissus, but the social media whirlwind, the pressure of virtual fame, and the temptation of sweet likes have gradually led us down the same path as the ancient Greek youth. We are caught in a vortex of self-satisfaction, a craving for validation, and an obsession with outward appearance without even realizing it. No longer a still lake, our mirror reflection is now a personal page on social media, a smartphone that is always with us. The crystal-clear lake of the past, where Narcissus first saw his reflection, has been replaced by a lake that is more modern, more sophisticated, and many times more dangerous. A personal page on social media not only reflects our image, but also amplifies it, embellishes it, transforms it into a virtual version that is more perfect, more radiant, but also more detached from reality. The smartphone, an indispensable item for everyone, becomes a pocket mirror, always ready to reflect our image anytime, anywhere, making it impossible for us to escape the obsession with ourselves. And the image we passionately gaze at is no longer natural beauty, but a perfect version, meticulously filtered, carefully edited, painted with illusions of ourselves. The Narcissus of the past was fascinated by his natural beauty, even though it was just a reflection. But the Narcissus of today is even more skilled. We not only look at the reflection, but also actively mold and craft a completely new image, a virtual version that is more beautiful, more perfect, and flawless. We use filters to smooth our skin, enlarge our eyes, and slim our faces. We use photo editing apps to lengthen our legs, slim our waists, and even change our facial features. And then we passionately gaze at our masterpiece, believing that this is the true beauty, and yearning for others to admire and love that virtual version. Does this sound familiar? This question is not an accusation, but a self-examination, a reminder. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever spent too much time editing selfies before posting them on social media? Do you feel happy and satisfied when you receive many likes and comments? Do you feel sad and disappointed when your post doesn't go viral as expected? If the answer is yes, then perhaps, somewhere within us, a bit of Narcissus is lurking. We spend hours each day scrolling feeds, taking selfies, live streaming, checking how many people have liked and followed us. Our time, resources, and energy are being stolen by social media in a silent, imperceptible way. Instead of spending time on meaningful activities, real relationships, we are immersed in the virtual world, obsessively pursuing meaningless like counts. We become social media addicts, always in a state of FOMO, fear of missing out, fearing that we will miss something important if we don't constantly update information, don't constantly interact with everyone online. We crave to be recognized, admired, and loved on social media, to the point of forgetting real values, genuine relationships, and even ourselves. Virtual validation on social media becomes a sweet drug, causing us to sink deeper into the vortex of vanity. We trade time, health, real relationships, even moral values to exchange for likes and followers. We forget that the true value of a person does not lie in outward appearance, not in the number of likes on social media, but in inner qualities, in meaningful actions, in contributions to the community. We also forget that true happiness does not come from virtual validation, but from genuine relationships, from deep connections with those around us, and from inner peace. Try looking at your phone right now. This is not just an invitation, but a practical exercise, a reminder for us to awaken. Pick up your phone, turn on the front camera, and look straight at the screen. Do you see your reflection on the screen? Surely you do. But ask yourself an important question. But is that really you? Or just a virtual version, created to get likes, to impress, to satisfy a vain ego? The image you see on the screen may have been filtered for smoother skin, larger eyes, a slimmer V-line face. It may have been edited to make you look fresher, more radiant, more photogenic. But is that your true self, with flaws, wrinkles, and genuine emotions? Or is it just an image built to get likes, to impress others, to satisfy a vain ego, always craving to be admired and loved? We are living in an endless maze of reflections, where the line between reality and illusion is increasingly blurred, where we can easily get lost and lose ourselves. Social media, with countless filters, photo editing apps, and embellished, ideal images, has created an endless maze of reflections. In that maze, we are surrounded by virtual images of ourselves, of others, of the world around us. We gradually lose the ability to distinguish between real and virtual, between authentic and artificial. We get lost in fleeting illusions, forgetting the path back to ourselves, to the true values of life. And more dangerously, we can lose ourselves in the process of obsessively pursuing those illusions. Concluding with a warning and thought-provoking message, maintaining a direct style. The story of Narcissus, even when retold in a modern context, remains a haunting warning. No matter how times change, no matter how technology develops, human nature remains the same. Excessive self-love, the craving for virtual validation, and the obsession with outward appearance are still dangerous traps that can imprison and destroy our souls. The story of Narcissus, therefore, is never old, never outdated. It is still a profound warning, reminding us of the potential dangers within ourselves and in the society we live in. It reminds us that the illusory beauty on social media is fleeting, virtual validation cannot replace real happiness, and excessive self-love can lead to unexpected tragedies. Beauty created by filters and photo editing apps is just illusory beauty. It does not exist in reality. Virtual validation on social media, no matter how much there is, cannot bring true, lasting happiness. And excessive self-love, if not controlled, can lead to tragic consequences, just as Narcissus died by the lake because he loved himself too much. Don't let the modern Narcissus syndrome imprison you in your own mirror reflection. This is a call to action, an invitation to change. We cannot change the virtual world, but we can change how we interact with it. We can choose not to be imprisoned in the mirror reflection, not to let the Narcissus syndrome dominate our lives. Step out of the virtual world, rediscover yourself in the real world, and learn to love yourself in a healthy and complete way. Turn off your phone, close your computer, and step out of the virtual world. Spend time on real activities, genuine relationships, and vivid experiences. Rediscover the passions, hobbies, and spiritual values you have forgotten. And most importantly, learn to love yourself in a healthy and complete way. Loving yourself is not about vanity or arrogance, but about accepting yourself with all your strengths and weaknesses, valuing your inner qualities, living a meaningful and happy life, independent of virtual validation from the outside world. That is the only way for us to avoid following in Narcissus's footsteps and to find true happiness in this life.